Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey. He's Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
And joining us this evening is the wonderful Mr. P-Dog Knight. How you doing, P-Dog?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
I just realized I never asked you if you'd prefer to be called P-Dog or Knight.
You can call me whatever you want. You can call me Marty if you want. That's something.
I still like Lawyer Dog best, but
Lawyer Dog, whatever you want to call me. I will
Lawyer
answer
Dog
to the names that you have beckoned me with. I'm fine with whatever you call me.
I was thinking Mr. Dog, but then I realized Mr. Knight sounds better because it sounds like you're part of Knight Rider.
right?
Okay, well,
Like he's got Kit in his backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, how you doing tonight, Marty? I think that's the first time I've ever called you Marty, and that feels weird. But you just said I could do it.
No, that's fine. A lot of people call me Marty in my chat because I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Marty Johnson, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. Now, I've been doing that for about 8 months now because I just don't care if people know my name. Because, on my LinkedIn, in my description, it has my other story about me in there. And so and I have my Yes That Marty channel, and I also have the Yes That Marty Instagram. So I don't care if people call me Marty. And the story, I link the GQ article I was in, and that says my name and shows pictures of my family and stuff. Like, I'm Marty Dogs. I don't care.
Fair enough. But anyway, how you doing?
I am fantastic as always. I am, I'm happy to be alive. I can go into some other stuff later, but I'm quite well. Thank you very much.
Wait, you were in GQ?
Well, yes, I was.
Well,
Why
look
are
at
you
him, of course.
slumming it here?
Come again?
Why are you slumming it with us?
Because it was like my very limited 15 minutes of fame. That's why. It was
still slumming it here.
If I would have had a YouTube channel back then, I would have milked it to the hilt. But
sure, yeah.
I didn't, I wasn't into all that stuff then. And so but yeah, and if you go, where can you find it? My link tree has all those that are. I was on Good Morning America too.
Wow.
With Diane Sawyer. That was fun.
Well, I'd like to point out that I've achieved very little in life, and
I went
this.
I went to a school assembly one time where they had the local weatherman there.
Oh, I'm not allowed at schools.
Jack, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, sorry.
I'm fine. Got some real world stress, but that's about it.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Mine's just a stupid sinus infection. Otherwise, I'm actually feeling pretty good. So let's dive into our show tonight, shall we? Wait, before we begin, P-Dog, did I see correctly you're in a timeout?
I'm in a 2-week timeout on YouTube. Why can't I chat here? What the
2 weeks?
What did you do?
Well, okay, so this pisses me off. In August of 2021, I did a stream after Joe Biden fucked up the Afghanistan withdrawal. Oh, I swore too early, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, after he screwed up the Afghanistan withdrawal, I was rather animated in my stream that day. And I went through whatever all my topics, and the last topic was an article in an Ace of Spades blog where one of my favorite aggregators had this intro that he does, and during that intro, it was all about the screw up of Afghanistan. But he said a 3-word phrase, which I can't say it because I don't want to get you in trouble. But it had to do with elections and integrity and how perfect.
Oh, gotcha. Fair enough. Right?
Okay. So this was August of 2021. And I have one active strike on my channel that drops off in January. But I got a notice on Friday that they removed that video from that stream, a 90-minute stream where 3 words were not allowed. They took it down, gave me a strike, and now I'm on a 2-week timeout on YouTube.
This is Kyle. Thank you so much. He says, hello, chat people, Monkey, Jack, and P-Dog. Hello, Kyle. Thank you for that feminist $12. Hope you're well, my friend.
Woo-hoo.
Hi, Kyle.
Yeah. I'm assuming you appealed and you heard back.
There we go.
I'm sorry. Have you appealed it?
Yeah, I appealed it, but okay, here's the thing. I didn't. That was the only thing that had anything to do with election stuff, right? The three words, literally, because none of it. What I was talking about was about the election, other than the fact that he described something with those 3 words.
Sure.
And I appealed it, but it was one of those days where I was very, very disparaging to the president of the United States. So if perchance they went to those 3 where they saw those 3 words, I clearly said the 3 words because I read them. It was in the article. I didn't say it. I wasn't talking about the election, but I said the 3 words. I appealed it, and they gave me the big middle finger, because I think, and anyone who does those appeals for YouTube, even if they're, I imagine that they're like Twitter and the other social media places that just aren't necessarily of my persuasion when it comes to political things. And I was very disparaging of the president in that. So I think they just heard this, and I probably pissed somebody off, and they said, yeah, fuck you. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, I was assuming it was something like that. I didn't realize it was from that long ago. Jesus Christ, YouTube, that's over a year ago.
Well, that was my appeal. Okay, that was my appeal. I said, look, I know I said those 3 words, and it was 3 words I was reading from somebody else's voice. It wasn't me saying it. I just was reading an article, but it had the 3 words in succession. And so I said, in my appeal, I said, this is 15 months ago. This would have been long gone if you'd caught it. Why are you giving me a strike? Because here's the problem. If they find something else from whenever on my channel, they can scour my channel. I'm sure they can pick the man,
something, sure,
find the crime, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They can terminate my channel tomorrow, and while I'm already out, I wouldn't be able to appeal that. It just pissed me off. This was gone. Look at 15 months old in a 90-minute video, 3 words. Are they going to terminate my channel for that?
Ridiculous. They could. I mean, they're douchey enough.
They could be. So anyway,
you doing Rumble or anything else in the meantime?
Oh no, I'm on Rumble. I stream, I simulcast on Rumble, and I was going to do it on Odyssey, but it's already a pain in the ass to set up Rumble every time. But so I do on Rumble. Also, I have a locals page that I use. Some people are subscribed to me there, or they follow me there so they get notifications. And so I just recommend everyone follow me on locals, so that, and you don't have to be a member. You just have to follow me to get notifications. And then you'll know where I am when this happens. And so happened that several people have done that, and they follow me on Twitter or whatever. So I still had about the same number of people in my Rumble stream yesterday, but it was Thursday. They sent me Thursday night. I got the notification, and
it's just nonsense. And YouTube really needs to do something about this. And there've only been 1 or 2 cases where they've changed something, and they were like, okay, we're just going to take this down, but no strike. And then they seem to have gotten away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's something like this, where it's that long ago. Let's see, ours was 3 months old when it happened to us, which, okay, that I would say is an acceptable time frame. If you hit me within the first 6 months, especially given how much I do, fine. I disagreed with their reasoning for why they did it. And in your case, I would disagree with the reasoning too, simply because you were reading somebody else's statements.
Right.
Well, the idea that we can get in trouble for reading something in a newsworthy fashion, and they're like, no, you said the bad words. Fuck right off.
Right. Well, the last time I did it, or last time I got a suspension, the one that's going to fall off in January, that was I was reading about Trump's reaction to something. Okay, so I was literally, obviously it wasn't my words. I think I even said that, it's not true. The election was the best, perfect, most pristine, whatever election of all times ever. Never. I mean, the best election since they started having elections in the Byzantine era. And but they said, again, they said, fuck you, we're going to still keep your suspension.
You know what it is?
What's that?
They don't like black guys.
You know what? I'm not black.
But you're black.
I'm not black.
Did nobody tell you you're black? I didn't mean to be the one to break that news to you.
Joe Biden told me that.
Is this like being told you're adopted?
No, Joe Biden told me that. He said, if you whatever you don't think about voting for me or something, you ain't black. I'm like,
You ain't black.
all right, I know I'm light skinned, but I thought I was black still. But nah, no,
Yeah, you're black, and YouTube just proved it to you.
Well,
Right.
that's ironic because I was raised as a poor black child.
Oh, well,
I was raised a poor black child. Oh, I love that movie.
that is a funny movie.
If you guys don't know that movie, your life makes me sad. All right, speaking of lives making me sad, let's jump into the Twitter files. Can I just say today was underwhelming and took way too damn long to get out?
Fuck.
That's kind of been a theme because like parts 1 and 2 were kind of underwhelming.
Well, at least part 2 and part 3 seemed to come a little more rapid fire. This one was back to like part 1 where it's like there were times that it was 30 minutes in between drops.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. These are journalists who write for a living. Can't they like have it ready to go and just that should have been done in about 25 minutes.
When you make a tweet, there's an option to click a little plus button to add another tweet, and you can chain it all at one time and then drop the whole thing when it's ready.
Yep. That's the other thing. Why don't they do that? I mean, they all use Twitter. I know how to do that. I do it all the time.
I don't understand why it takes so long, but let's go ahead and jump into it. Go ahead, Jack.
Before we do that, thank you, Cult of Krill, for that feminist donation. Who says thank you for the jerk reference? No problem, dude.
You're welcome. It was him, but I'm gonna take credit because it's my show.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, indeed. All right, this is Matt Schellenberger, who I now follow only because I wanted to see the Twitter files. I don't know anything about this guy. Don't know his politics, his normal writing style, or whatever, but he was designated to drop this one. This is the day of the most horrible riot ever, where they tried to overturn an election. There was some subterfuge and some other big words that was going to just kill the United States as we know it if it was allowed to happen.
I hate to correct you, but it's pronounced subterfuge.
Subterfuge.
Taught me that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot we were using Biden-esque.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
And everything's dumb.
All right, this is the removal of, I'm sorry, this is January 6th. This is the day he's removed. The removal of Donald Trump, January 6th. The pressure builds. Twitter executives build the case for permanent ban. On January 7th, senior Twitter execs create justifications to ban Trump. They seek to change the policy for Trump alone, distinct from any other political leaders. Not just other political leaders, other world leaders as well. Because there is a slight difference that they make in Twitter policy for that. World leaders were a separate group from even elected leaders, who are a separate group from we, the unwashed masses. For catching up, and then he drops the links to the first 3 parts, and then here we go. For years, Twitter had resisted calls to ban Trump. Blocking a world leader from Twitter, it wrote in 2018, would hide important info. Let's just read what it actually says. Blocking a world leader from, man, I didn't even notice he didn't use screenshots. You son of a bitch. Blocking a world leader from Twitter or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information people should be able to see and debate. It would also not silence that leader, but it would certainly hamper necessary discussions around their words and actions. That last part there, hamper necessary discussions around their words and actions. If they truly believe that the insurrection, the seditious conspiracy, and all of this, wouldn't that be the time of any time to be like, yes, we need to have necessary discussions around this?
You would think.
You're putting too much thought into this. I don't think these people have that much forethought.
I mean, what else has Trump done in their mind that was worse than January 6th?
Oh, he was Trump.
Oh, he was Trump. Yeah.
It was her turn, monkey.
He
her
was
turn.
born.
Yeah. It was her turn.
You know what? I think they're looking at Trump beating Hillary wrong. I think we just see the classic Clinton-esque issue. She just killed her campaign. She suicided it.
It got sad.
She double tapped it in the back of the head by itself when she refused to go into what we don't need to go to flyover country.
Look,
Yes.
your hate facts have no place here. It was her turn.
It was her turn.
It was an anointment.
But after the events of January 6th, the internal and external pressure on Twitter CEO Jack grows. Former First Lady Michelle Obama, tech journalist Kara Swisher, I think is that, the ADL high-tech VC Chris Sacca, and many others publicly call on Twitter to permanently ban Trump. Here's Sacca. You have blood on your hands, Jack.
Not right now, I don't. Oh, never mind.
The other Jack. And
I wash up, thank you.
that is some hyperbolic bullshit. You have blood on your hands. The only person who died there was one that was on Trump's side. She was shot by a federal agent who faced nothing for doing so.
Actually, there were 2 women who died, but they were beaten by one was beaten to death. If you actually look at they have video of it. She may have been beaten to death. I know they were beating her with sticks while she was on the ground, but then the one who was shot too, obviously.
There are reports that up to 3 or 4 people died that day. The only one that we know for a fact died that day was Ashley. She was shot and immediately dead. By the way, he's probably the best shot we've seen from any of the police.
It was quite the shot.
Yeah, the guy that leaves his gun on a toilet is one that is the best shot in the police. That's fucking.
Hey, I got a Streamlabs.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Cryptic.
Oh,
now
no.
wait a minute. Oh boy. Okay. Whoops. I almost gave one of these.
Your life makes me sad.
But that's not what I meant to do. This one kind of requires music. So give me a second. Thank you, Cryptic, who says, I dated a girl and I didn't know she was previously in an abusive relationship. I just thought she really hated high fives.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm not really sure why I put sexy time music on for that. It just didn't really work, did it?
Oh no, that worked really well. So a little Barry White goes a long way when you're high.
It really does.
I'm sorry.
All right. So Jack's got blood on his hands, and Michelle Obama chimes in with this. Now is the time for Silicon Valley companies to stop enabling this monstrous behavior and to go even further than they have already by permanently banning this man from their platforms and putting in place policies to prevent their technology from being used by the nation's leaders to fuel insurrection. Bum, bum, bum. I'll put up what the other 2 people said real fast. I don't really care. There's an article written for the Intelligencer, and then there's this one from Greenblatt, who's a retard. Anyway, so I didn't mean to stop sharing. I meant to go back to where we were. My bad. I gotta fire my producer. All right. Dorsey was on vacation in French Polynesia the week of January 4th through the 8th, 2021. He phoned into meetings, but also delegated much of... Yeah, sorry. I got distracted by something there. Also delegated much of the handling of situations to senior exec Yoel. We're going to talk a bit later about Yoel Roth in a little bit more depth than the Twitter files. There's stuff that has come out about this man that explains a lot of Twitter. And I had seen it yesterday, and I wasn't going to talk about it until Elon tweeted about it. So we'll get to that later. Just something to keep you guys on edge. Like, wait, what is it?
That's called foreshadowing.
It's foreshadowing, yes. It's building suspense. Why would they want to silence him if he was hanging himself with his own words? Well, faithless. The same reason they wanted to silence him all along, because they knew that was bullshit, and they knew that he wielded social media very well in ways that they couldn't. Do you guys remember when Obama got elected and they told us how much he was like the kids. He'd use the power of social media to get elected. And then Donald Trump came along and went, oh, shit.
He used the power of social media to get elected.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he made Obama look like a chump when it came to social media.
Yeah.
And the only way that they could make themselves look better is by getting rid of anybody who made better arguments than them, or at least made more persuasive, used propaganda better, whichever way you want to say it. Just somebody who was doing it better than them, which is pretty much anybody who has a brain most of the time. As context, it's important. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. And not just Yoel, but Yoel and Vijay were the ones that were left in charge, which from the sounds of it, they were pretty much in charge of all of this stuff anyway. I think, Jack, you're right about how Dorsey did this. He was, okay, I run the place, but you guys take care of it.
Yep.
And
it gives him plausible deniability.
Yeah.
And it also allows him to go to French Polynesia and bang whores or whatever he was doing.
Yeah. From the sounds of it, they were using his name because he had left and had come back and like Jack's in charge again. But he doesn't seem to have really been involved in a lot.
Yeah,
it's still his fault. He hired these people. He left them in there and he let them do what they wanted to.
Yeah.
So
even if he is hands-off approach, he still is supposed to know what they're doing.
Yes.
And it looks like he was either really lazy or just totally zoned out of his own job. Like, was he just on perpetual vacation or perpetually high or something?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Have you ever seen the guy talk? He's a dirty fucking hippie.
Yeah. I just wonder if he ever went to Epstein Island.
You're getting ahead of us on Yoel Roth.
It's called foreshadowing.
Officer Buck, thank you. Hey guys, read any good pictures lately, Monkey? Yeah, we just read one a moment ago. Do you want me to bring it back up? You can read pictures.
Dude, it's still funny.
You can still read pictures.
Those are screenshots.
As context, it's important to understand that Twitter staff and senior execs were overwhelmingly progressive in 2018, 2020, and 2022. 96, 98, and 99% of Twitter staff political donations went to Democrats. And then he links to Tabby, how you say his name's tweet from the other day, where we see the donations, where in 2022, donations to Republicans was $451. That's like ridiculous. Just tell me that nobody there is a Republican.
Yeah, it's like the janitor donated that.
Yeah.
0.27%.
Yep. Of all donations.
All their donations.
We got to get rid of that Mr. Phillips. He may be a good janitor, but he's one of them Republicans. The only guy with a real job there.
By the way, I was just reading a picture again. In 2017, Roth tweeted that there were actual Nazis in the White House. This is a true thing.
Actually,
in April 2020, Roth told a colleague that his goal is to drive change in the world, which is why he decided to not become an academic. So here's the first one. Yes, this person in the pink hat is clearly a bigger threat to your brand of feminism than actual Nazis in the White House.
Somebody better tell Trump. He could have shot an exterminator. Thank you. Yeah, but Trump could have got an exterminator and got rid of those Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see a bug, you gotta tell people.
Call in the 101st. They'll take care of it.
Fuck them Nazis.
And this is him. What is this? Back in April of this year. Yeah, academia is by far the most abusive working environment I've ever been in.
I'll go along with that. They're pretty bad people.
The entire system is exploitative in a ton of ways, and also not necessarily productive if your goal is to drive change in the world, which was the main reason I left. You see, old Yoel here, he had a goal. He gonna make the world a better place. Did you guys see Scott Adams talking about the Twitter drops?
No.
I glanced at it, but it looked like it was old man ranting at clouds kind of stuff, so I moved on.
Well, he had one of these big brain takes where he thinks he's smarter than everybody. He's figured it out, you see. Yoel Roth and the people at Twitter, They just were doing what they thought was right. That's it. So, I mean, they might have had some bad results, but it comes from a place of good in their hearts. They were just trying to do the right thing.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Well, there's two problems with this thing. One is the road to hell being paved with good intentions. It doesn't matter how smooth the ride in is when you're surrounded by flames. The other problem is we know that they did things like lie about shadow banning. You don't lie about what you're doing if you believe what you're doing is the right thing.
But if you're like a religious zealot, you would. I mean, just because you think you're doing the right thing doesn't mean you are doing the right thing.
Well, if you're doing something that you feel you have to hide, you know you're not doing the right thing. Even if you think your underlying goal is good, you know at least that part is not.
Yeah, but they'll still try and justify it like, oh, we
sure.
had to do that.
And that's kind of what Scott was doing there. I mean, he didn't say that they had, he just kept, no, you see, they thought they were doing it. Just like he even said this, what do the January 6th folks and Yoel Roth have in common? They both thought they were doing what was best for the country. I'm only barely paraphrasing that. Yeah.
Hey, real quick. Thank you, Cryptic. I heard the Pillsbury Doughboy died of a yeast infection. I guess all those times he was being poked was not a good idea without protection. Yeah, well, you pay the consequences for the fetishes. Thank you, Cryptic.
Okay. Okay, hang on a second. Because I'm looking at, I was catching myself up on Scott Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked this question. What do Yoel Roth and the January 6th protesters have in common? They are all victims of narrative poisoning and legitimately believe they are protecting our country. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
No. he was being a partisan dickhead.
No, it wasn't his fault. He was trying to do the right thing.
Older boys made him do it.
It's interesting because you know who Julie Kelly is from American Greatness. She's been following the January 6th people.
Yeah.
She did a tweet, it's illegal for corporations to directly donate to political campaigns. In any other situation, this would be considered in-kind PR services, talking about what Twitter did. And Scott Adams says, if in-kind donations of this sort were a crime, the entire news industry except Axios would be in jail. Wait a minute. Does he think Axios is like the most neutral news agency out there?
He does, yes.
Okay, that's Seriously? Weird. Okay.
Officer Buck, real quick. When Monkey says you can read pictures, all I can think of is Monk sitting in the children's sections of a library, engrossed in the philosophical discussion going on in Dora the Explorer picture book.
To be fair, that's kind of where my head was at when you first said it. I'm like, what?
Look, it is not my fault. Y'all can't
puppy? What?
Understand things.
But no, sometimes those pictures have stop signs in them, and you can read the damn stop sign.
Thank you. Not these guys are just like, it's a hexagon. I can't fit. Anyway, no,
it's an octagon.
Whatever. I don't give a shit. I told you I'm bad at geometry. I meant geology when I said it, or geography is what I meant. Jesus fuck. I suck at the geo words. All right. No, but I want to
hear you over the sound of you digging.
Two things I want to say here. One, I said the in-kind donation thing night one as it came up. I'm glad to see people have finally caught on to that.
Yeah.
Because what an in-kind donation is it's when you give something that helps the campaign that typically you would have to pay for. In this case, them running interference for you. So like shutting down your opponent so they can't speak.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on that one.
Well, there's a lot of people bringing up, Section 230. They did this, that. The government got involved in this. And the thing I've been thinking about is, well, what about the FEC violations? That's what I think they're totally in breach of. They're obviously if a corporation out there playing for one side, there's got to be that in-kind donation thing going on there.
The FEC should be all over this. That's the Federal Elections Commission, guys. It should be absolutely all over this, going, wait, what the fuck? You guys were clearly helping them out. Because remember, the stuff that we saw yesterday is not after the election. This was happening in September and October. Thank you, Alan, for the message or the donation with no message. How are you tonight?
Also, thank you, Alan, who says, "Good evening, Jack. How you doing, Alan? Hope everything's going well for you."
All right, let's get back to these. He didn't number them tonight, which by the way did annoy me. And was I the only one annoyed that he didn't number it?
No, because it's a little confusing if you jump in halfway and you don't know you're halfway in.
And yeah, so on January 7th, Jack emails employees saying Twitter needs to remain consistent in its policies, including the right of users to return to Twitter after a temporary suspension. After Roth reassures employees that people who care about this aren't happy with where we are. This is Yoel. Jack's emails have been fine. Can you tell who was really controlling things? But ultimately, I think people want to hear from VJJ or Dell. I don't know who Dell is. The name
Del Shannon. He sings "Runaway."
I don't think that's it.
Oh.
And I had a friend in school. His name was Delmar. I don't think it's him either.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, if a JJ or Dell or someone closer to the specifics of this who can reassure them that people who care about this are thinking deeply about these problems and aren't happy with where we are. Tell me again, Scott Adams, about how he's just doing what he thinks is best for the country.
Is Scott Adams the Dilbert guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't he like a big Trump supporter?
He's kind of a wishy-washy guy.
Oh.
He's one of those people who really thinks he's smart. And sometimes he says smart things and sometimes he says dumb things. And in both cases, he is the same asshole.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
And he supported Trump, I think, from his perspective, pragmatically.
A few engineers have reached out to me directly about it, and I'm chatting with them. But it's so clear that they just want to know that someone is doing something about this, and it's not that we are ignoring the issue here. Okay. Again, no smoking guns tonight, guys, but this is him going, yeah, there's nothing we're doing and we should be. And I have these couple of engineers who are bringing, why are the engineers bringing up policy decisions to you?
Apparently that's how this shit show is run.
It's amazing they were able to fire them without the system crashing when what they're worried about is policy instead of the actual systems.
Because they're writing code about policy and not systems. That's what their code is about. That's why.
S. Cybertaz, thank you so much. Scott Adams is a Scott Adams supporter. Fair. I think there's an opportunity to help people understand that while it seems obvious and simple that we should permaban his personal account, we can't afford to take that immediate action without first playing the movie out and anticipating all other things that can happen, and then figure out the plans for those possible scenarios. For example, if we suspend the personal account and he posts the same thing on the official government account, do we suspend that too? Man, they were doing some deep thinking about this shit.
So yeah, this is the second guy that's replying to Roth.
Yes.
This is another employee that they've redacted who it is, which they redacted a lot of lower level employees during this thing.
The last 2 days, before that, they weren't really doing it all that much, but the last 2 days, there's been a shit ton redacted.
Yeah, I think, Monkey, you were right about that when you said there's probably some current employees that were involved in this.
Well, there's at least one that's going to come up that he's becoming a Twitter star. Everybody's like, I hope he still works there and he needs a raise. We'll get to him in a minute. People can be forgiven for not thinking beyond the thing that's immediately in front of them, but Jack, Vijay, Dell, you don't have the luxury of just pulling the trigger without thinking things through. Yeah, and yet they did it. We tell them repeatedly that people are on it and people are working on it, and they're scratching their heads wondering how hard can it be to decide if this single account is in violation. And that comes from their donations, man, because they're all like, it's Trump. Of course he's in violation, period.
You know, when you say they, though, those three,
We mean the Jews. We're like Nick Fuentes over here.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The JJ is kind of conspicuously absent in this series. She's kind of, I mean, Jack, the Yoel's clearly communicating with Jack, but other than them mentioning her, I don't hear her voice at all today.
I don't think Jack is as involved as you might think.
No, not even involved, but they talk to him like because he's on vacation somewhere.
Sure,
some shit. But they're consulting him, but I don't hear them actually consulting Vijay. I missed some of this, so I may be in there, but
there is a part later where he specifically mentions her being on board with stuff, and it's probably one of the more salacious parts of this.
Okay.
I think he was the one that was dealing with all of this, and I'm very curious if there's missing like emails between him and her or something like, okay, that's too internal, we're not sharing that. But we know she was involved in all of this. She was the one out there making excuses for things like shadow banning. No, we don't shadow ban because here's our very limited version of what shadow banning is. But anyway, okay, around 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, Roth DMs his colleagues with news that he's excited to share. Guess what? He writes. Jack just approved. You know what? We're just going to read it. Guess what? That's all in caps. Jack just approved repeat offenders for civic integrity. Directional approach would be something like this. Labels which are severe enough. By the way, he wouldn't be directly doing that with him. At the very least, it would be him and Vijay talking to Jack because Vijay is his boss. But anyway, directional approach would be something like this. Labels which are severe enough to result in disabling engagement incurs strikes. Strike 1, label only. Strike 2, label only. Strike 3, label plus a 12-hour timeout. Strike 4, label plus a 7-day timeout. Strike 5, permanent suspensions. They're talking about doing this with world leaders. The civic part there, I think he actually described it. Let me just go on. Progress, exclaims one of Roth's trust and safety team. The exchange between Roth and his colleagues makes clear that they had been pushing Jack for greater restrictions on speech Twitter allows around elections. The colleague wants to know if the decision means Trump can finally be banned. The person asked, does the incitement of violence aspect change that calculus? Roth says it doesn't. Progress, does this affect? See, they do this time and time and time again. I get why they do it so that we can see it, but just let me see it. I don't need you to tell me what it said if I'm going to read it myself anyway. Am I wrong on that, guys? You know how much time you could have said? Wait. This tweet, he typed out almost 5 lines, 3.5 lines of text there, which obviously takes him about 45 minutes to do. When all he had to do was post the screenshot. You could have saved time, Michael. I'm trying to help you out. Just my little bitch about how long it took him to post these things. Does this affect our approach to Trump, who I think that we publicly said has one remaining strike, or does the incitement to violence aspect change that calculus? Roth says, Trump continues to have just one strike. And then he goes on to say, this is for everything else. Do you notice a difference there? The employee says that Trump has one remaining strike, and he says he has just one strike. It kind of gives the impression that they're on the different pages, or Yoel just doesn't know how to communicate very well. Because I should have said one strike left.
Well, look at the distance between the two messages too. There's a lot of conversation in there, and I think part of the conversation they were having is apparently Twitter gives you like 4 or 5 strikes before they actually can do something, and so that's why Yoel is saying, well, he just has one strike. Technically he has one strike.
Technically. Roth's colleagues' query about incitement of violence heavily foreshadows what will happen the following day. On January 8th, Twitter announces a permanent ban on Trump due to risk of further incitement of violence. And that just shows when they did it. On January 8th, Twitter says its ban is based on specifically how Trump's tweets are being received and interpreted. We talked about this a lot in, what was that, Drop 2? The Barry Weiss stuff. But in 2019, Twitter said it did not attempt to determine all potential interpretations of content or its intent. And this is how it, after close review of recent tweets by Donald Trump, we're doing it because of how it was received and interpreted. And then over here, we do not attempt to determine all potential interpretations of the content or its intent. Almost like they went back on their own words.
A little bit.
And here's the thing. Like I said, we talked about this a lot in Drop 2 of this stuff. Twitter was heavily looking at how things were interpreted. I think we had some of it yesterday too. How things are interpreted. How are people looking at this? Are they interpreting this in a bad way? No. Okay, then it can stay up. I don't think that it should matter, in my opinion, how people are. I've said things before that people take entirely the wrong way. Partially, it's my fault for how I said it. And partially it's because, they're just looking to be assholes.
Yeah, some people will intentionally misinterpret things.
For instance, I was reading a picture. I mean, that's a good example, is it not?
It is. It is.
Yes.
So, I mean, how it was intended matters more than how it was received, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that would involve nuance. We're not allowed to have that anymore.
Well, that would also require mind reading.
Indeed. Or, just not being as uncharitable as possible because you don't like Donald Trump.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Brad Young, it's your birthday. This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brad Young. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. I hope you have a great one. I really, really do.
Happy birthday, sir.
This is the guy we were talking about just a little bit ago. The only serious concern we found expressed within Twitter over the implications for free speech and democracy of the banning of Trump came from a junior person in the organization. It was tucked away in a low-level Slack channel known as Site Integrity Audio. This might be an unpopular opinion, but one-off ad hoc decisions like this that don't appear rooted in policy are, in my humble opinion, a slippery slope and reflect an alternatively equal dictatorial problem.
That guy's fired.
This now appears to be a fiat by an online platform CEO with a global presence that can gatekeep speech for the entire world, which seems unsustainable. Right?
Yeah, I think we found the Republican there.
We found the guy who donated $451.
0.27% right there. That's his name.
This is 0.27.
He's 27.
Yeah, this is the only guy in all of their stuff that they could find who was like, wait a minute, guys, this seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, I'd tell you that guy was probably fired.
I would bet so. They should release his name because a GoFundMe would start for this guy instantaneously.
No, he shows up later, remember?
Not his actual name.
No. I'm saying, though, he wasn't fired because he shows up later.
Well, look, he shows up later, but it's that same day, and that doesn't mean he wasn't fired the next day.
Oh, was it the same day?
Yeah, it was later that night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, but okay. Sorry, I ruined the surprise.
No, you're fine. And right here, see, this is what I'm talking about. You took all that damn time to write this. You put the screenshot in here, then you quote the screenshot and put it in a second time.
They keep doing that.
Somebody should slap the shit out of you for that in Minecraft.
Gotta boost my interactions.
Maybe it's because, okay, so if people are doing this on like a smartphone, right?
Uh-huh.
Those little screenshots are really.
Are you
hard.
making excuses for this man?
I am trying to figure out why he decided to spread this out over fucking 4 hours. There's gotta be some reason that they didn't just make one tweet thread and then go boop and then the whole thing pops out. But maybe I think it's for engagement though, because you get a lot more engagement if you do one at a time. I was
Sure.
You know what I was doing during this while I was watching this? I was listening to the spaces with Ian Miles. There was like 13,000 people in the space when I was there.
Yeah.
I got there. Every time one of those tweets came out, I was trying to find a really good GIF for like them. So like for at least 15 or 20 of them, I have a GIF. I just, like when Yoel Roth sounded so excited about, oh, we got a reason. And I put this woman going, ah. So, I was just, and so there.
Unless he has no hands and was typing this on a phone with his feet, there's no reason for how long it took for each one to come up. Even doing it individually for engagement, no fucking excuse.
Absolutely. Oh, I know exactly how this was. If this guy's a reporter,
He's
been
beating
drinking,
off?
And he did this in between blacking out.
This is when he came to every couple of minutes before he took another shot of the bourbon.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't mean to disparage the guy. He might be a nice guy, but the way that especially the first night and now the fourth night, God bless, man. It was tragic how slow these came out. Twitter employees use the term one-off frequently in their Slack discussions. Its frequent use reveals significant employee discretion over when and whether to apply warning labels on tweets and strikes on users. Here are typical examples. Could have bounced with a strike. I don't see any scenario where we would decide not to bounce here. Just want to check if there are any concerns. Otherwise, I can bounce under RTP and close this one before I go. FYIs, account for review the user is at USA Ascension. We are trying to understand the one-off decision here. I'm guessing they didn't do anything bad to them. Like, we could have. I have no idea. They don't give us the context of what happened. And then over here, by somebody, there's always abuse one-off, and then another one says bounce one-off is the option. They were just like, okay, even though we have the rules and it doesn't exactly fit the rules, you can just do it just this one time. Just this one time.
Yeah, that won't set a precedent.
Recall from Twitter Files 2 by Barry Weiss that according to Twitter staff, we control My brain tried to read the same word twice. I'm not blackout drunk, I promise. I am a reporter, but my bottle's over there. I haven't even opened it tonight. I thought about it earlier today. I thought about doing some day drinking just for the fun of it. I've never done that. I'm almost 50 and I've never day drank just for the fun.
Really?
Yeah, it's on my bucket list now.
Wow. That's
Lady Monkey was at the store, so technically I'd have been alone. It would have been kind of sad sitting here in nothing but my underwear because I hadn't put my pants on yet, drinking.
Yeah, I suppose
in the middle of the day. Nobody's encouraging me to do this. I feel like you guys don't have my backs on this.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't either.
I have been told that I need to have goals in life. That's how you succeed, is have goals in life.
Okay.
Yeah, achievable goals is good, I guess.
Right. And day drinking, that's a really easily attainable goal. I got a big ass bottle right there full. I've had like 2 shots out of it. That's it. All right.
We do it once a week almost because we do our trail stop stream.
See, you guys go out and you have like lunch and stuff. I don't consider that really day drinking. That's having a drink with lunch. I'm talking about just sitting there in your underwear, sad, staring at the screen with a tumbler of whiskey in your hand. Just, you know what I mean?
Because.
Yeah.
Just because.
And since I hadn't eaten yet, I would have got drunk pretty quick. The Irish blood will only save you so much. All right.
Right.
Recall. I was reading this. I should probably get back to it. Recall from Twitter Files 2 by Barry Weiss that, according to the Twitter staff, we control visibility quite a bit, and we control the amplification of your content quite a bit. And normal people do not know how much we do. This is one of those things we knew, but we didn't know. Everybody could see it. Everybody guessed it. And Barry Weiss's drop there just, reaffirmed what we already knew. Twitter employees recognize the difference between their own policies and Twitter's terms of service, but they also engage in complex interpretations of content in order to stamp out prohibited tweets, as a series of exchanges over the Stop the Steal hashtag reveals. Now, YouTube, I'm not saying that I support that movement. I'm reading this on the platform here. Hey, hope you're doing okay and we're able to get some sleep. It is weird how familiar they are with each other in their work chat. Because they talk to him a lot like this. Like, I hope you got some sleep. I hope you got some rest. Yoel, was there not enough nappy time at work?
Well, he was in the meditation room, but somebody came in and it threw off his chi. So one of his chakras didn't line up right, and it affected his sleepy time.
The whole feng shui of the room was fucked up because Susan walked in.
Yeah, and well, I mean, that bitch, it threw him off. So he had to try and take a nap in one of the nap pods.
Yeah.
And it was just a nightmare. Real quick though, thank you, John. The world is made of 70% uncarbonated water, so technically it's flat. Oh.
Fair enough.
Did not know that. Good point.
Can we?
That's a good point.
Can we, or have we already discussed blocking the Stop the Steal hashtag? It's furthering fake news in a dangerous way, from what I can tell. Yoel responds, "Hey there." That's his first response. Hey there. Hey there.
Hey there. You're an all-star.
I'm sorry.
Game on.
Hey now.
Hey there. We're proactively surfacing that content for review under civic integrity, and it should be blocked from Typehead and Trends. If you're seeing it in either of the latter two, let me know ASAP, and PT can fix it. I just saw the hashtag, and then I did a search on it, and all the content was appalling. So I don't think it's showing up elsewhere. Thank you for all you're doing. And Roll says back, I'll flag it to the election squad. Remember that what I find appalling, this is the other guy, what I find appalling and what TOS violations are not exactly overlapping. And he goes, Wow. That's a weird thing to say after Yoel has just told you, I'm going to go ahead and flag this to the team that would be looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
And already telling you that it's been de-amplified. It's not allowed to be in the trending. It almost seems like he knew this was going to come out. And they're like, I better cover my ass here.
Yeah, it's shocking how unsurprising some of this is.
Right? Roth immediately DMs a colleague to ask that they add Stop the Steal and QAnon QAnon conspiracy term Kraken, which I didn't know was a QAnon conspiracy term.
Well, remember what's her name? Who's the Sidney Powell?
Yeah,
they were saying something about release the Kraken because she had supposedly had some great revelation or something.
Oh,
so that was the big thing for a while, and so and a lot of the people, it's not a QAnon thing. It was a one of her things, and they were going to, so a lot of people were using that phrase. This was like big MAGA heads using that phrase.
Sure.
So that's where they started seeing it. But then I'm laughing. I'm going to laugh at what you're about to read because I know what's coming.
I heard that phrase and I just went and watched the original Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay much attention to that, I guess.
I guess I remember it going around, but yeah, I figured it was about anything, which actually comes into play here. Roth says, no, there's a lot going on. Any objections to adding hashtag Stop the Steal and Kraken to the CHAQ terms list if they aren't already there? And then he goes on, the daylight separating Q and Stop the Steal stuff now is effectively zero. His reply comes back, Kraken for sure if it's not already there. And the same person goes, I'm too worried about the risk of de-amplifying counter speech with Stop the Steal. To which Yoel goes, ah. All right, so they're going to add Kraken. This comes up again later, but they're going to add Kraken to this where you can't say Kraken, a term that has been around for a long time. Does it all go back to Lovecraft, or was Kraken a thing before him?
Kraken was a thing before him.
So years and years and years, but they're like, you know what? Hey, wait a minute. If we don't let Stop the Steal be there, then the people who are arguing that is nonsense, they're not going to be heard. That is where their mind went with worrying about shit.
Well, I want to know why they're trying to cover for the Kraken, and are they doing this big with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster as well? What are they trying to cover up here?
I thought they were trying to raise alcohol awareness because Kraken has a really nice rum. Yeah.
Just did a quick search of top Stop the Steal tweets and their counter speech. See, this is what they were getting at. Is as long as the reception is okay, it's okay to have it. And then the same person goes on. I'm guessing it's the same person. They're using the same blank out. Kraken, I'm comfortable with. Top tweets are genuinely Q related, and I'm noticing an absence of counter speech. And Yoel says it's also super common on profiles. Kraken. Never watched Pirates of the Caribbean, huh? Anyway. And then this guy, actually, we can de-amplify accounts with Stop the Steal in the name profile level. Those are not affiliated with counter speech. So what they're talking about here is if you had the Stop the Steal hashtag on your profile, you had changed your name to that, whatever, they will de-amplify you, but not the overall trend, so that people who were saying that it was nonsense could say it was nonsense.
Yeah, for hashtag hijacking, basically.
Yeah, basically.
No.
And here's where things finally start to get a little interesting. Yoel finally speaks up. Also, I think adding Kraken to the various bots may have broken something. And this person goes, no, but for when you're back, I don't know what the hell that meant. And then somebody says this, oh, guys, I removed Kraken the other day, FYI. It did break something. There's an app called Kraken or something. If we list that, no concerns about putting it back, but would want to see if there were other FPSs. And then somebody else chimes in, the brand Kraken account is allowed for what it's worth. Yeah, it's a crypto exchange. There's several businesses that use Kraken as their name.
Mm-hmm.
And these fucking idiots didn't even pay attention to that this isn't a term Q came up with.
No, it's been a sailor's horror for, 1,000 years? I mean, this is an ancient mariner's term. It's not like this is new.
But they kind of tried to okay sign it, right? Because somebody said it's associated with this. You got to get rid of it. Fucking retard. This is who's running it and deciding what you can and cannot say on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or was.
They're not real smart. Thank you, John. People are shocked to find out I'm a bad electrician.
Nice. Yeah, I want to point out it was Yoel Roth who asked, can we put Kraken in the list of words you can't say? It was him specifically. The guy who got to be, he had two bosses above him. He had Vijay and Jack, but otherwise he was running free here.
I always thought it was JJ that orchestrated most of this, but it was Yoel.
Mm-hmm.
He's everywhere.
I will give you that, but he did it with JJ's blessing. I promise you that.
Yes, no, I agree.
Because we saw the Tim Pool interview and her up there with her stupid ass defenses.
Oh yeah, no, she made it all okay.
All right. Employees struggle with whether to punish users who share screenshots of Trump's deleted January 6 tweets. We should bounce these tweets with a strike given the screenshot violates the policy. they're criticizing Trump, so I'm a bit hesitant about applying a strike here. They were
No favoritism.
well, except for there was.
No favoritism. Obviously, right? That's how we're supposed to read this.
Because here's the screenshot. It's somebody quote or with the screenshot of Trump, and it's the one we read yesterday. It says these things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from the great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. And this chick had a screenshot of it because it got taken down, and she retweeted it saying, fuck off. Oh my God. Even Twitter says this, that it's inciting violence. If you think that's inciting violence, why would you repost it in the first place? Like, here, guys, this is the violence incitement. Look at it. If something incites violence and you signal boost it, isn't that going to increase the chance of violence?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, they said the first person said that they should bounce it and give a strike, and the other person, like, I don't know, because they're counter speeching this. I love that term. They have counter speech there. That's a internal term they use a lot.
Counter speech.
It's counter speech.
That's pretty dystopian.
What if a user dislikes Trump and objects to Twitter's censorship? The tweet still gets deleted, but since the intention is not to deny the election results, no punishing strike is applied. And this is, I can't see who the name is. I don't even like the man, but I'm not going to put up with Twitter deleting opinions they don't like. And this is somebody else who shared the tweet. And they say, I'm in agreement. One-off works for commentary. Strike if a tweet is agreeing with the tweet. So if you posted the same thing and said, I agree with Donald Trump here, then they would strike you down. But as long as you didn't agree, though, we're not going to do that. We'll just take it down.
Wow.
I'm glad to see that at least on some level, intent mattered to these assholes. I think this is the only time we've seen any example of them looking at the intention rather than, say, the reception or just their own political bullshit. But for them to do it here, where it's still clearly just done for partisan bullshit, I mean, it would almost be better if they just didn't understand that intent matters, because to them it only matters when it can be used to further their own already ridiculous thinking. I hate these people. I sincerely hate these people. Oh shit, I forgot to check on Rumble for like a whole hour. Hi guys, hope everybody's over there as well. Don't forget to hit the Rumble button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Don't forget to donate to us. It's at the top of your chat there if you're so inclined. And I hope you have a big wiener. And if you don't, people are going to laugh at you. Thank you, John, who also said people are shocked to find out I'm a bad electrician. I don't know why my alerts aren't going off tonight. Damn it. I have several of them backed up here. Ladies and gentlemen,
hit the plusy over on Rumble.
I am so very sorry that I've missed these. Chaos 1X, thank you. Today is my birthday. That's the one I missed for real. All right, before I read any more of this, Chaos 1X, it's your birthday. This is for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chaos 1X. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, sir. Hope you had a great one. Today is my birthday, and the only person left who knows is my sister. I feel like there should be some witty or wise thing to say about that, but it feels more like being that rhino in the zoo that's the last of its kind. That is sad.
Yeah. Wow. Harsh, dude. Well, try and have a happy birthday anyway, because you can't focus on the negative.
Right.
Well, I mean, your life's not over yet. Got tons in front of you. And Cryptic, thank you. In 92, Bill Clinton was asked, if he wore boxers or brief. Clinton replied, boxers. Last week, AARP asked Joe Biden, boxers or briefs. Biden responded, depends. I love that joke. All right, so we finally got some nuance there at Twitter where they understand intent matters, but only if the intent matches what they would like. Isn't that fucked up?
That sounds right.
No.
Around noon,
none of us are shocked by that.
No. Well, again, I am a little bit shocked that intent mattered at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Around noon, a confused senior executive in advertising sales sends a DM to Roth. Yoel, I have a question regarding Twitter safety thread regarding POTUS and Jack's email. Jack says, we will permanently suspend if our policies are violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policies is Jack talking about? In spreading misinformation, is spreading misinformation a violation like his past tweets about election, or is it more about tweets inciting violence? I'm asking because we're getting tons of calls from clients following FBIG decision, Facebook, Instagram. So some clarity would be great. Thanks. And Yoel responds, hey, JP, for internal awareness, this would be any policy violation, not just limited to elections. But before sharing anything, please coordinate with somebody on the comm side. Obviously, a ton of interest in our position on this. Want to ensure we stay aligned. Hey, guys, we've made a giant ass of ourselves already. Can everybody just make sure you're on the same page on this? I'm just saying, try not to make asses of us any further.
You know what this does kind of show, though, is that they weren't coordinating with other social media companies, because that was kind of the thing. Everyone thought, oh, these guys all coordinate. Not necessarily on this particular one, although the government people giving them their marching orders probably talked to them all the same way.
Well, here's the thing. This doesn't necessarily not show that, and I'll tell you why. When these guys were all up in front of Congress, I forget which time it was, but they were specifically asked, hey, do you guys have like a group thing where if something bad happens, you all talk to each other? And they said, yeah. So we know they have it. How much they used it, how much they organized within, and how much each other's decisions mattered to each individual group. We can make guesses about that, but I get what you're saying is that this doesn't actually show any of that. But we do know it exists unless they lied to Congress, because all of them went, yeah, we have that. And Congress asked them like, okay, so if you get this thing that X bad person is there, how do you guys each respond to it? And they all went, oh, we decide for ourselves. You know, like Alex Jones. Anyway, this is a continuation of that last thing. Thanks, Yoel. We'll connect with comm teams for sure. One last question. In the past, we exempted policy violations from a world leader due to public interest value. Are we dropping the public interest now, and any new violations could be a trigger? For me to understand, again, we'll check with comms regarding what we can and cannot share publicly. 6 hours later, Yoel chimes in, apologies for the slow reply. I've been back to back all day. Yeah, that's what you were doing. I've seen your comms. That shouldn't have taken you 15 minutes for everything you wrote. In this specific case, we are changing. In this specific case, guys, pay attention to that part. That's important. In this specific case, we are changing our public interest approach for this account to say any violations would result in suspension. We aren't completely getting rid of the public interest approach, though we do have work planned on revisions in H1 2021. So they're going to change some things, but right now this is just for Trump. The Ayatollah, no big deal. Putin, not a big deal. Just for Trump.
You know, I think we need to address the part where he says, I've been back to back all day today.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
He was
all.
getting his groove on. How Yoel got his groove back.
Ugh.
You.
What?
Involved a lot of butt stuff.
Sorry.
You can't ooh when you played the sexy music for it.
Well, that was for him, not
I
for me.
did that.
The ad exec is referring to Twitter's policy on public interest exemptions, which allows the content of elected officials, even if it violates Twitter rules, if it directly contributes to understanding or discussion of matters of public concern. Once again, of all of these things, of all of the times that they were like, you need to kick Trump off, wouldn't this be the one that most was of public concern if it's this horrible, horrible thing that we all keep hearing it is? It was an insurrection, you guys. This was the worst thing since what the British came and burned down the Capitol. But nah, hey, let's keep him on the down low.
Had that narrative hadn't really come out yet, had it?
What, the insurrection?
I mean, no, I know that some were calling it an insurrection. The media certainly was calling it an insurrection, but they hadn't quite said it was the worst thing since Pearl Harbor yet.
No. There were tweets that day about how it was the British who burned down the Capitol, right? 1812?
Yeah, the White House.
Sorry, the White House.
Yeah, the White House.
That was said that day.
Okay, I could remember.
Yeah, but we're just going to gloss over that time in the 50s when the Puerto Ricans went in and shot 5 people.
Yeah, that was no big deal, man. It was some Puerto Rican guy. We can't even find him. It was some Puerto Rican guys. See, that's what they did wrong in South Park. That's why they could never find the guy, because they were looking for 1 and there was 5. Little known fact.
Huh.
By the way, kids, if you're in school and that comes up, please tell your teachers that. Roth pushes for a permanent suspension of Matt Gaetz, even though he didn't quite do anything wrong. Here's the exchange. Yeah. This is the one. This is the most salacious of any of the stuff that I saw, in my opinion.
Right.
This is somebody asking, what's the latest on Antifa claims? Anything brewing policy-wise? C is yelling from the other room that we should just ban Gaetz. They're talking about Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida, and the specific claim here being that Antifa were the ones doing the violence. By the way, there absolutely were Antifa people there.
Oh, yeah.
Were they a big contingent? No. You don't need a big contingent to kick up a crowd. You just need a few people. But they were absolutely...
The one in particular was urging people to break shit and burn this.
There was one who was breaking a window, and everybody...
Yeah, right, that was him.
Yeah, everybody around him is like, get out of here. And they started chanting Antifa. They never played that clip on the news.
Well, and let's not forget the guy Sullivan that was wearing the MAGA hat and got paid for filming a bunch of stuff inside the Capitol.
Well, that was
he was known to have ties to some of those guys too.
Yep. There's video of him breaking windows too.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the claim that Gaetz made, is that there were Antifa there. I don't remember if he said it was them doing the violence or they were causing. I don't remember the tweet, but that's what they're talking about. And Yoel replies, yeah, SP and SI are working on that. It doesn't quite fit anywhere, duh. That's how you talk to your employees. Anyway, the other guy goes right, and then Yoel says this, but I'm trying to talk safety into treating it as incitement. I think we'll get over the line for removal as a conspiracy that incites violence, but JJ was directionally okay with it. Okay. How in the ever-loving fuck does saying Antifa was doing this, even if it's not true, incite violence?
Because they wanted it to.
That makes no sense at all. Zero. And this is where I almost retweeted this part to Scott Adams and said, hey, tell me again about I was just trying to save the country. Because this is clearly just a partisan thing here.
No, they were looking out for their friends. See, that's what good people do. They look out for their friends in the Antifa.
Yeah, Yoel, good luck with your subpoena from Congress later this year.
Well, Congress isn't going to do anything. Be a lot of talking and not
they'll still bring him up there and humiliate him a little bit.
Hopefully.
Moving along, around 2:30, comms execs DM Roth to say that they don't want to make a big
Shut
deal
up.
out of the.
Sorry.
What's that?
No, I was trying to turn that off.
Oh,
You said they wanted to humiliate him.
yeah, they will. Gates is a petty little piece of shit. He will definitely be asking to have this guy yanked up in front of there so he can fuck with him.
Mhm.
Anyway, here's the guy who's asking.
That will be hilarious, by the way.
It will. I'll watch.
That will
With
be
popcorn.
fucking hilarious. I can't wait till Matt Gates gets to ask him questions. It'll be awesome.
All right. So this unknown person says, we're good either way. We'll discuss, but I'm generally in the space of let's start taking action and not do a big comms push around this. Let's explain why if we're asked, but worry if we push that it looks like we're trying to offer up something in the place of the thing everybody else wants. And Yoel says, yep. And what they're talking about here is banning QAnon accounts and then going to the media and go, look, we banned QAnon accounts, because they think that the media will be like, oh, you're just doing that to cover up the fact that you're not banning Trump like should be happening. This is a conversation. They're looking at the optics. Oh my God, if we make a big deal out of this, then they're going to be like, oh my God, you're just doing this to not have to take care of Trump. That's what they were worried about. And Yoel's like, yeah, you're right, man. That evening, a Twitter engineer DMs Roth to say, hi, Yoel. I'm sure you're very busy right now. My apologies if this is a distraction to your work. I wonder if there's been any discussion about reshaping the rules around official accounts. For example, Donald Trump's real Donald Trump account and other accounts, for example, his White House account or any unverified account. I feel like a lot of debates around exceptions stem from the fact that Trump's account is not technically different from anybody else's and yet treated differently due to his personal status, without corresponding Twitter rules to clarify the responsibilities that should come with the status. And the thing being there is that Trump always still used his regular account instead of the POTUS account. He had access to the POTUS account, but he still tweeted under real Donald Trump. And like, should we be able to ban it since it's not officially the White House account? And Roth says, I think you're spot on. To put a different spin on it, policy is one part of the system of how Twitter works. There are different things you can change when you want to affect different behaviors. Policy and enforcement are one. The product is another. Partnership and outreach is another, etc. That's a weird thing to throw in there. Partnerships and outreach. You know, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And
yeah,
all of that is situated in a bigger system, i.e. the world, which influences how everything else operates in practice. When you change one part of the system, you necessarily have to adapt the rest. And I think we ran into the world changing faster than we were able to either adapt the product or policy, but we can and should do both. Not directly. What? We can and should adapt the product and policy, but not directly. Okay. I don't quite understand what that means. And then Michael brings up the guy that we talked about earlier, the one who's like, yeah, guys, this is a slippery slope. It makes us look like just some assholes getting to decide what everybody says.
Accurate.
It is accurate. And then later that night, he wrote this. My concern is specifically surrounding the unarticulated logic of a decision by Facebook. That's the space that fills with the idea, conspiracy theory, that all social media heads and internet moguls at every layer sit around like kings, casually deciding what people can and cannot see, and it's unhelpful to the internet ecosystem as a whole. Again, this is my humble opinion.
Oh, this dude totally got fired.
Yeah, right. And he's totally spot on.
Well, that doesn't matter. They're not gonna like hearing that. Oh, how dare you, you peon! How dare you talk to us like that?
And then he linked an article that's from 10medium.com. Facebook chucked its own rule book to ban Trump.
Accurate.
The underlying problem, writes Will Oramus, I think, is that the dominant platforms have always been loath to own up to their subjectivity because it highlights the extraordinary, unfettered power they wield over the global public square. Yes, 100%. It's exactly what it is. Goes on to say, and places responsibility for that power on their shoulders. They don't have any responsibility. They're just like, we didn't, I don't know. So they hide behind an ever-changing rule book, alternatively pointing to it when it's convenient and shoving it under the nearest rug when it isn't. 100%. Facebook's suspension of Trump now puts Twitter in an awkward position. If Trump does indeed return to Twitter, the pressure on Twitter will ramp up to find a pretext on which to ban him as well. It's like this guy had been reading these all along, because that's literally what they were doing. Even when they were only giving him the 12-hour ban, they were already looking for a pretext to ban him permanently. In fact, they were doing that before he ever got the ban.
Oh, yeah, because this is ideological.
Indeed, as Barry Weiss will show tomorrow, that's exactly what happened. Actually, you showed that's exactly what happened already.
And they've probably been doing that since the day he won the election. I mean,
probably, yeah.
All the social media was. You remember the Google meeting when they were in mourning that Trump won, and what could they do to the hell was that?
My monitor fell off. I'll be right back.
Okay,
cool.
What can we do to help to prevent anything like this from happening again? It's like he wasn't even inaugurated yet, and they're talking about how they can prevent it next time.
Well, the thing is, they're not even really talking about how to prevent it next time. All of this was specific to Trump. Right. They give a little bit of that, what you're talking about, in the future, if this kind of thing happens. But almost everything we've seen is specific to this instance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when they're like, okay, we're going to throw away the civic integrity policy. We're only doing it right now for Trump. That's just for this one case. We're still going to have it, but in this one case, it would be a little different though. All right, this is going to be a policy shift. The next time the Ayatollah comes out and says Jews should be wiped off the map, we'll get rid of him. But that's not what they did.
Except they won't.
They won't. You can't. He's a Muslim. Right. Oh, sorry. Whoops. But there it is, guys. There is There is Twitter Files number 45 is supposed to drop tomorrow again from Barry Weiss. She seemed to be a lot more on the ball when she did it last time. So hopefully she did it so fast. I didn't even realize it happened.
Yeah.
4 hours.
4 hours of this. I mean, it was excruciating. And I was laughing because there's people complaining like all the way through it going, oh my gosh, how long is it going to take him to do this? And I said, well, you could do what I did the other day is I just turn it up and read it in the morning because it's a lot that way. Holy shit.
It works out for us because of the timing of the show. They have been ending around the time we start. Tonight, he actually went, I think he stopped like half an hour before we finally went live, or before I started setting up the show, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to do it right at the end anyway. And like I said, tonight, he's like just dragging. I'm like, dude, it is 10 o'clock. Where's the rest of this shit?
At 10:17 Eastern time was when he finished. He started at just after 6 o'clock.
Good God, dude. So, I appreciate the work. But let somebody else type it for you next time. Just hire somebody to be your little your what do they call it? Transcriptionist.
Mm-hmm.
Cause fuck. Anyhow. Anything really jump out at you guys that like was really surprising? I mean, other than the Gates thing, that's the only thing that really jumped out at me because that was so directly partisan.
I still want to know if any of these people have been to Epstein Island.
Well, that kind of leads into the next thing. Now, not directly to Epstein Island.
But are you going to talk about Yoel?
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about Yoel being a bad word. I had to be careful on how I titled this because I was going to title it Yoel Roth is a pedophile. But I thought I might get in trouble for that one.
Little bit.
But this is a guy, and I like I said, I'd heard this yesterday. I saw a little bit of it. Going back to when he was in college, his thesis had to do with some weird shit with kids and sex. And he wrote something called Is there ever what is it? Is there ever a good a sexual relationship between students and teachers? He had some really gross shit that he wrote.
Well, and then his PhD thesis
Yeah,
had to do with like underage people on Grindr.
yeah, I'm trying to find the exact clip of that because Elon Musk called it out today.
Wow.
Oh yeah, let me throw it up on the screen here. It says, looks like Yoel is arguing in favor of children being able to access adult internet service in his PhD thesis, and we'll read it in a second. But this starts because Yoel, here it is. Can high school students ever meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers?
No. Short thesis.
And Eliza Blue here says, I think we may have found the problem, Elon Musk. And he said that explains a lot.
Yeah.
And so here's what Yoel actually wrote. It's worth considering how, if at all, the current generation of popular sites of gay networked sociability might fit into an overall queer social landscape that increasingly includes individuals under the age of 18. Even with the service's extensive content management, Grindr may well be too lewd or too hookup oriented to be safe and age appropriate resource for teenagers. But the fact that people under 18 are on these services already indicates that we can't readily dismiss these platforms out of hand as low-key, I don't know what that's supposed to say, for queer youth culture. Rather than merely trying to absolve themselves of legal responsibility, or worse, trying to drive out teenagers entirely, service providers should instead focus on crafting safety strategies that can accommodate a wide variety of use cases for platforms like Grindr, including possibly their role in safely connecting queer young adults.
Hey, I got an idea. How about we drive out the teenagers? Like, what do you mean?
No.
Drive out the teenagers entirely. That would be a better idea.
Yeah,
No.
it's a hookup app.
That's the worst thing that he says, or worse, trying to drive out teenagers.
Okay, let me repeat myself. How about we try to drive out the teenagers entirely? That would be the best.
Yeah. How about we don't leave teenagers at the hands of people that want to bang other people? You know, same with any of the hookup apps. Tinder, Grindr, doesn't matter. How about no kids allowed? Huh?
There are people who like, say, Tinder, right? There's a lot of women who go to Tinder and like, it's just guys who want to hook up because they're actually dumb enough to think that they go to a hookup app that they're going to find love. Grindr is a gay app. Everybody knows that's just for gay guys to get together and butt fuck. It's a sex app is what it is. It is not a relationship app. It's a sex app. And this guy's saying the worst thing to do would be to drive out teenagers. Now, what we got to do is we got to make it an inclusive place for the teens and so that young adults can have sex.
If you're looking to bang teenagers, that makes sense, I guess.
It does make a lot of sense with some of the lack of censorship of child exploitation on Twitter.
You know, it just has the Scott Weiner vibes, you know, or Scott Weiner vibes, you know.
Carlos Danger vibes.
Yeah, come on. I don't understand. Well, maybe I understand. I don't know. I don't. I don't understand why. Now, look, I know there's a lot of gay people who probably would be like, hey, you asshole, don't make us look this bad. Okay. But why is it that it's always and maybe I just haven't seen it, where the advocacy for doing things with people who are under 18 always seems to be on the gay side of it. Is there a corresponding heterosexual well, never mind, I forgot teachers.
I was gonna say, I can't say if Hunter Avallone is gay or not. I don't know.
Oh, Yeah.
have to ask his wife's boyfriend, but other than that, I don't know. You're right. A lot of this stuff that we see, and I don't know why it's that way, but it does seem to come from people who are quite obviously gay.
Yeah, it's the advocacy part, not the part that happens. Because I know
Sure.
it happens with heterosexuals, but
You know,
the advocacy part.
I think a lot of it comes from the way that activism happens these days, where so much has been compiled into LGB that now it's like longer than the goddamn alphabet, has numbers in it and shit. And I think that the way that this shit is taught, we have to accept everybody. Well, if you're saying you have to accept everybody, and you're like, oh, we have to accept all sexualities, and you have people going, well, this is a sexuality, and you come from this group where they're like, you've always been held down, you really should be on our side on this. I think that's part of where it comes from. I'll also note that the other people that I've seen on this side, there was a chick who did a TEDx talk who she was speaking for her brother, but she didn't seem in any way actually gay. She was speaking for it. It was women. I blame women.
Well,
You'd think women would try and protect children.
Well, it's not their kids.
and it's again, feminism, it being accepting and empathetic
Intersectionality.
and whatever,
There's a limit to tolerance, though, and I would hope people draw the line at their kids getting fondled by randos.
Well, see, that's the thing. They've got it in their head. This is the combination of so many different things. Completely unrelated to sex. Look at how they treat Greta Thunberg, the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
Well, if she's that smart, shouldn't she be able to make decisions for herself? We're going to lower the age of voting to 18. Where or to 16? Is it Australia that just had the court case that came down? Is it Australia or New Zealand? One of them just had a court case came down that said it was discriminatory not to let people under 18 vote.
Jesus.
True story. So when you're lowering the age that we see them as adults and let them do adult things, and you have people over here like, we have to be more permissive and accepting, and those two groups collide, what do you think's going to happen?
We get invaded by the Chinese.
Yeah, who then ban sissy boys from TV.
Yeah.
Hey, here, I guess here's an idea. Look, hey, you want my 16-year-old to vote? Hey, can my 16-year-old borrow your Porsche?
Right?
Hmm?
Can he have control of your bank account? Yeah, this whole thing is disgusting. And Yoel, you're a disgusting person. And I think I see why you ran. I think I see why you left Twitter when you did. He was asked about this, P-Dog. I don't know if you saw that part.
Yeah.
He was asked about this in an interview the other day on I forget which day it is, but just for argument's sake, on Monday, you were on a Twitter space with Elon and you're talking about how great he was. And then the next day, he actually said he was he was going to make Twitter the safest it's ever been or something similar like that. And then the next day you quit. And why? What happened? And he goes, well, to understand this, I'm being way too deep voiced for him. Well, to understand this, you actually have to go back a couple of months. You see, first Elon buys it, and then he fires some people, and then he changes some policies, then he fires some people, and then there's today. Didn't answer the question at all. But suddenly out of nowhere, this guy up and fucking leaves. And I wonder if it has something to do with Jim Baker being in charge of what Twitter files Matt and Barry and Michael got.
Probably, because if Baker was filtering them out.
It coincided with James Baker getting fired.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
So, I'm sure, all those names that were redacted as we went through that. I'm guessing that maybe Yoel Roth's name was also redacted before that.
Might have been.
Or something like that. I mean, there's got to be something.
Well, there's definitely parts of this where it seems that there's stuff missing, important stuff missing. And especially in that first drop where it was a little disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you compare 1 to 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and 4 definitely have a lot more specific information, because 1 is important, and we talked about at the time. Yeah, it gave us some indication. Yes, we already knew this was happening, but hey, now we have actual proof. 2 comes out like, wow, and then 3 comes out and we actually have the DNI. FBI, yeah, we figured, because of Mark Zuckerberg already telling us they were doing it at Facebook. So of course they're doing it at Twitter. Of course they're doing it at YouTube and Google. It's happening here, guys. But then you add Homeland Security, and like, whoa.
Right.
And then you get to the Director of National Intelligence. That is just absurd. And that was directly Yoel. He's the one like, yeah, I've been meeting with them. Yeah, if I was him, I'd have fucking left too. I'd actually probably be on a plane to somewhere with no extraditionary treaty if I'm thinking what's probably on his computer hard drive at work is actually on there. Just throwing that out there. You might want to go to France, homie.
No, he's gonna go to French Polynesia.
Go hang out with Roman Polanski.
Sneak in the office with some bleach bit.
Yeah.
Or
need to get Fuentes' blue light up in there to see what's going on. But thinking about many people, myself included, pointed out, this guy writes this article about, is it ever ethical for a high school student to have sex with a teacher? He writes that the worst thing you can do is drive teenagers off of a butt fuck app. Let's call it what it is. And suddenly the word groomer gets banned from Twitter.
Now, to be fair, there is probably some oral on there, but
it might be
the timing is highly suspicious, isn't it?
But suddenly groomer becomes such a bad word, and especially when it's often used correctly. There are people out there who throw it around like lefties use Nazi. Not everybody's a groomer. Some of them are just shitty people. Some of them have shitty ideas. Some of them just disagree with you. Please use it properly.
Well, and when I use groomer, I don't necessarily mean grooming them for sex. When I use that word, I mean you're grooming them to be immersed in your ideology. You know what I mean?
Well, that's an accurate definition.
It's so but they and so, because
see, I hear you.
I know what you mean too. It's
I don't
both, but I don't even want to be immersed in the ideology.
I hear you. I don't use grooming that way because I think it diminishes what grooming is. I will use indoctrinating or something similar to that. Grooming, it has such a specific context there with child sexual endangerment. And so I try to never use it out of context because I don't want to be part of people who eventually make it the new cuck, where cuck just means I don't like you. Not, the actual cuck like Hunter Biden. Hunter Avalon. Jack Marvey. Fuck. But I peed on her when she got home, so I was still dominant. Yeah, you won that one. He banged your wife, you peed on her, you win. I still don't get that.
I don't know, man.
Like he's a dog reclaiming his territory. She gets home, he's got to pee on her.
On the
you smell like that other guy. I got to wash that off. Shh. Anyway, Apex Predator. Yoel Roth being in charge of this stuff. I mean, I just kind of made the grooming thing make sense where you're not allowed to say it. Just throwing it. I do hope that the Twitter files, I'm glad they're going over all of this, right? But I want to see even more. I don't want it just to be about the election. I don't want it to just be about the laptop. I want to see things like libs of TikTok. I want to see how they've been treated over the last couple of months, not going back to the election, just the last couple of months in the way that they've talked about them and the policy decisions around them.
You know what I'm waiting for?
What's that?
I'm waiting for some bombshell about Taylor Lorenz, Ben Collins, Kat Denbarge, because remember how or at least I know Taylor Lorenz has said that she has her connections at Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And I also want it and also what's his name? Christopher Boozy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's also bragged about having his people in there, and because they just have this little circle jerk of conspiracies that they come up with, or when they decide they want to take someone down. I think didn't you do one of Kat the other day or yesterday?
Yeah.
That article she wrote, and it's like, oh, okay, she has a new target to take down, and they're very effective at getting people yeeted from various social media platforms, or at least fucking up our lives with, the adpocalypse and shit like that. And I want to see some internal docs of them having direct access to some shit. I mean, that it's not as salacious as the government doing it, or, political, but still.
Well, I think it's just as important because, as I've said so many times, you control language, you control everything, and that's what they've been doing. Just today, Taylor, she's out there suggesting that, look, she retweeted somebody who suggested, I should say, that all of this CP has been on Twitter forever.
Right.
It's nonsense. That's bullshit. It's all made up. And we've seen this since Elon took over. We've seen this narrative coming out. There's kind of a dueling narrative of it's gotten worse since Elon took over, and it never
didn't exist before. That's what's pissing me off. And who is Eliza Blue?
Yeah,
actually had a chart there since Elon's been on. They've been averaging like 100,000, I guess 100,000 accounts they've been getting rid of. And Taylor makes it sound like, oh, they discarded the team that's getting rid of this. Except you can see the month when Elon comes on, it goes from 100,000 to 300,000 that they're jump, which amazes me that they're finding that many. But so even, and because she was saying, oh yeah, that they didn't go to this conference that all the social media companies go to for the first time in years, and that's why it's increased. Except why supposedly this phenomenon's increased on Twitter, and it's not. They've dumped more accounts than they ever have.
Well, look, this is something that I get very, very passionate about, because the media companies don't do shit about CP. They haven't. Whether it's YouTube or Twitter, I'm not on many of the other ones, so I'm guessing it's as bad there. But on these two platforms, it's like pulling teeth to get this stuff off. And people, because I have what little platform I have, think I might have some kind of pull, and they're like, "Hey, Monkey, can you help us get rid of this?" And I've seen some horrible shit, and I do everything I can to get rid of it. And there was this one, I didn't even open the whole thing, because when it popped up, the banner at the top had a naked child on it. This child could not have been over 3. No. I copied the address and immediately just started reaching out to Twitter. It took 2 days to get that taken down. 2. And that was one of the fastest I've ever seen. They didn't even have a way to and this is for both platforms, YouTube and Twitter, did not even have a way to report child abuse. You can report that somebody misgendered you, but you couldn't report a child being abused, sexually or otherwise. And for those who were like, "Oh, it didn't happen. No, it was never," you didn't look, you didn't try, because you were too busy worried about Trump saying something that upset you that you never paid attention. This is why Scott Adams' bullshit of Yoel Roth, he was just trying to do what he thought was best for the country. Yeah, except for the kids who were getting fucked on his fucking platform. Didn't give a shit about them. Now, one good goddamn. We're not seeing any things that, oh, we need to make sure we get rid of this child porn. It's like, no, Trump said something mean. We gotta do something. We gotta make up a new rule for that. I get angry. I get very angry, because this is a serious issue. This is something, I mean, kids should be left to let them be kids, for fuck's sake. Mm-hmm. And this shit has been going on forever. This isn't new, and it was ignored by people like Yoel Roth, who wrote about how kids should be allowed on Grindr. And is it ever okay for a teacher to fuck one of the children that they watch? And they're like, no, no. And it's just more distraction from this shit. Here's the actual tweet that Taylor Lorenz retweeted. Says this is getting bad. He, talking about Elon Musk, he's leveraging right-wing pedo panic to malign former employees without basis.
Pedo panic, really?
Pedo panic.
Is that like homophobia now?
Yeah.
Yeah, this normalization of pedos has got to stop. We have to draw a line in the sand.
And without basis, it's based on his PhD thesis or whatever.
His PhD thesis and
yeah,
the internals they have about fucking child porn on the site.
I mean, I had this New York Post article from a while back was saying when the lawsuit, you know, that they refused to remove someone who begged them to remove their, you know, their
own. Oh yeah, the CP
video.
That was about them. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody's. There was child porn of somebody, and they found it on there, and they reached out to Twitter and said, "Please, can you take this down?" And Twitter told them it did not violate their policies.
Yeah, and they were like 15 or 14
yep.
was made, and it's like, what do you mean it doesn't violate your policies?
Yeah, they couldn't even legally consent to being recorded.
Who wrote those policies? Jeffrey Epstein?
Probably Yoel Roth.
Or Yoel Roth.
It's disgusting.
So, yeah, I mean, Yoel, you are a bad word. I can't say you're actually a pedophile, but you certainly are wearing the uniform of one, sir. If this is the kind of way you think that we got to make a sex app available for children, and maybe it's okay for adults and kids to have sex, you know, as long as they're in a teacher-student relationship, you're just a fucking disgusting person. By the way, he said a whole lot of other really bad shit. People have started digging through his Twitter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy's a piece of shit.
Oh, dating back to like 2011, they're finding shit.
Yeah, I saw one from 2010 is the earliest I've seen. And look, we've been over this kind of stuff. You say something edgy, but this isn't edgy talk. This is just, he's a piece of shit. I don't think he should be canceled for it. I think he should be canceled for the pedo shit that he's been pushing.
Real quickly, thank you, Travis Gardner. Anna over at Redo has stated that she has had better responses now in reporting than ever before. And the former Mrs. Gardner says that the problem is a moral panic. Sometimes moral panics are real and they should be attended to. And this is one of them. And if it's a moral panic, I think it's a legit moral panic. There are witches here trying to diddle kids.
I'm okay with a moral panic that goes after people who are trying to hurt kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it should go to the extreme of like the shit they tried to pull with Keemstar. He's dating an 18-year-old. Like, oh, pedo. No, she was 18.
Yeah.
That's the legal age across the United States. It's lower in some states, but 18 is the legal across the U.S. That is not pedophilia. When you have teachers banging their students, unless they are 18, I'll give you that. It is. You're breaking the law. And in those cases, you're typically breaking the law anyway, because there's other laws that govern being able to do that with your students.
Well, a teacher banging their 18-year-old student, it's statutory rape either way.
Yeah.
It's something because it's the power or
power. Yep.
Power issue.
So I'm okay with the moral panic part of it. Oh, moral panic. You know what? It's time for the moral panic because this shit has been being ignored. We've been talking about the change from maps going back, near the beginning of me streaming. So 6 years. And we've just seen it get worse and worse and worse. We go back and watch stuff from 2016 and look at the kind of things that we're talking about. And then come and jump to the future and look to where we have teachers who are like, yeah, we have a special closet for when the student comes, they can change in there. We don't tell their parents about it. It's a secret between us. It's time to start paying attention to this. It's past time to start paying attention to this. God, this shit makes me angry. I just want to punch something right now. I get violent about this shit. It's a good thing I'm crippled, or I would have broke everything in my room over this stuff. If I could pick up my monitor, it'd be over there in the wall. Deep breaths.
Oh,
What
I
up?
just, you know who this brick suit guy is? He's one of these, he's a mega guy. Apparently the University of Pennsylvania has withdrawn Yoel Roth's doctoral thesis.
Really?
Your stated policy is that as of December 15th, you require open access publication of PhD dissertations. Yoel Roth submitted his dissertation in 2016. Earlier today, it was freely available to download. At the time of this tweet, it has been withdrawn. What happened?
Yeah, why are you hiding it?
Probably too many people downloading his dissertation because of Elon Musk. That's probably, I'm sure that's, yeah, this paper has been withdrawn.
Yeah,
Gay
why are they
data.
hiding it?
His doctoral thesis on gay data, which I don't give a shit about gay data. I don't be gay, but leave the youngins out of it.
Well, I mean, even then, if you're going to do a study on how many kids are gay, fine, but leave them and the adults separate. How about that?
Yeah,
Is that too much to ask?
Apparently.
I fucking hate these people. I really do. And again, you guys got to remember, this is just at Twitter. We have similar rules about things we can say and do over here on YouTube. You think that's an accident? You think there's not a Yoel Roth working here at YouTube?
Who are you asking?
The audience in general, but yeah.
I got Yoel Roth today.
Yes, you did.
I got Yoel. Yeah, or I got Yold. I'll just call it Yold from now on instead of Yeeted. I got Yold today.
Got Yold. And there's one at every company that has this power, that is the one making the decisions, and it's amazing how they're all in lockstep.
No, you know, the powers that be at every single social media company and Google and Apple are watching these these tweet threads come out going,
What?
that look like, our secret's out, because it's happening. You're right, it's happening at all of them. They all have a Yoel Roth, they all have a JJ, they all have a Jack, and some of them have even talked about being that. They all have Susan is basically just I don't know. I don't want to talk about Susan and JJ in the same sentence, but because
I hear you, and the problem is this: the other companies know that they don't have to worry about this, because the only way this is going to happen at a YouTube or a Facebook is if somebody internally steals it and leaks it, because there's nobody that's going to buy YouTube, nobody's going to buy Facebook. The only reason we saw any of this is because Elon bought the place and like, fuck it, let's show everybody.
Right.
And
so we should be encouraging the people at the other companies who might go, hey, this might be newsworthy to leak some of this shit.
I mean, the people that would be in a position to have access to all of it are probably getting paid well enough that they do not want to jeopardize their career. And you have to realize most of these people are on the same page anyway. It's not like you have a lot of diversity of thought in these companies. Even Jack, going back, oh God, I wish I could remember when the article was written. But when Dorsey did an interview one time, and in it, he even stated, conservatives at Twitter are afraid to speak up. This is a company he's running, and he said that. That means you should have changed things so that they, could speak up without retribution.
That sounds suspiciously like discrimination.
Doesn't it? But discrimination is allowed based on political ideology. That's not something covered under discrimination policy or under discrimination law.
Unless it was run by pedos and they were discriminating against the non-pedos.
No,
because sexual orientation.
Well, I guess.
I still look back to the befuddlement that when Jack and Vijay and Tim Pool were on Rogan, and Tim was trying to explain to Vijay that when you're like I think they were talking about the pronoun things and how conservatives might see that as just something see that in a different light, and the befuddlement on her face of not even being able to understand how someone might think differently than her.
Well, yeah, he was explaining this was specifically over misgendering, I believe,
right?
And pronouns are tied into that. And he's like, no, this is a political issue. You're taking a political side because this is left versus right now. There's one side that believes, hey, you have to do it this way. And the other side, like, no, we don't. And she's like, but it's not. And Jack was right on board with it. Dorsey, I'm going to try to say Dorsey, so I'm not implicating you, Jack.
Sure. I appreciate that.
Dorsey's was the same way. I don't understand. No, this is just the right thing to do. Like, but that is a political stance. No, we don't understand that. And it's because they are so indoctrinated. And this is where Scott Adams was a little right. They do think that they're doing the best. But so did Hitler. And I don't mean to make, I know you're not supposed to make that comparison. But do you not think Hitler was trying to set up the world how he thought best?
Right. That's a good way to put it. That might be a way to explain to Scott Adams.
Do you think Hitler was out there going, man, I am just fucking the world up?
I gotta fight Scott Adams now. I'm tweet sniping that one.
Most people, whether they're good or bad, think they're doing the right thing. They think they're doing the best for humanity or the best for the world or the best for themselves. Doesn't mean they are.
Well, look at Margaret Sanger. Her eugenics movement ended with Planned Parenthood so that she could control the black population.
Okay, here it is. What did Yoel Roth and January 6th protesters have in common? They are okay. Here we go.
Yeah, it fits that. Tell me the Hitler example does not fit what that retard said.
Oh my god! I want to see.
I know.
Now I got to scroll to make sure nobody else said it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they don't understand.
Well, when you're trapped in an ideology like that in an echo chamber, it's going to be like that.
Government is the problem, Ronald Reagan. That's true, but it's not the only problem these days. See, Ronald Reagan wasn't around during the social media thing. I would love to hear his opinion on this kind of stuff. I would like to get the Gipper's opinion on this, because media has always been able to control us, and whether people want to believe that Twitter's real life or not, Twitter does help tell what stories you're hearing. As me and Jack talked last night, it is almost impossible to read 5 news stories in one day and not have one of them mention tweets.
So irritating.
And not just mention them, actually put them up there and link them. Like, for fuck's sake. These are the people who are driving conversation around the world, not just the country, around the world. Speaking of that, I do want to just veer off a little bit here. The other day we made a ridiculously bad, I saw somebody say the worst WNBA trade in history, and I agree. We traded a giant drug user for a arms dealer who plotted to kill Americans. And
well, to be fair, she's not patriotic either. So
yeah, I should have said that. A drug user who hates America. And as predicted by some of us, the Russians mocked us for that.
Yep.
They came out and went, did you see what these fucking retards did?
Did they finally do it? They finally mocked us for it?
They did that like 2 days ago.
Oh, I missed
state media.
I couldn't believe they fucking did that. I mean, it's the what was the dickhead from that was AWOL and that they
Bergdahl.
Bo Bergdahl.
It's another Bo Bergdahl trade. I mean,
I think this was worse. This guy was
absolutely worse.
This guy's responsible for escalating civil wars and getting a bunch of guns in really bad places, and he wants to kill Americans. And we fucking hand him over for this lazy drug smuggler? Come on.
And I was in somewhere talking about this with somebody, and what it is, it's a foreign policy blunder, but a domestic policy triumph for the Biden administration because you didn't hear any. I've been listening to this, free BG shit for 9 months because his constituency, the people that he is angling for, the LGBTQ and black and whatever, all the boxes he checks have been for 9 months free BG, and then saying, oh no, the reason we're not doing it because she's a gay or lesbian, woman, whatever, blah blah blah. And so for Biden, you don't have to hear that shit anymore. He had his wife, her wife in his office, 9 or 10 times since she's been over there. And so for him, that is a very limited but domestic policy win.
I disagree in his right. I think that's what they were shooting for.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't mean necessarily. I mean, that's what they believe.
But it kind of blew up in their faces to the point now. I don't know if you guys have seen this. The press is all over the fact that Whelan's brother, he's the one that most of us thought, if you're going to make this trade, you should do it for this. It's a former Marine who was arrested for espionage in Russia. He's been over there. He's been in prison over there since 2018, 4 years. And his brother has come out and said, Trump shouldn't say anything about this because he didn't do anything for my brother for 2 years. And that's what the news is all over right now, because they can't make the case that it was a good thing to get Brittany out instead.
And especially on it that he said this was a good thing, when in reality he said that he's glad at least they told him before it happened, because the last time they got someone released from Russia, they didn't even tell the Whelan family, and they find out in the media, and they were pissed off the last time. So at least this time they're not pissed off because, the Biden administration was good enough to inform them before they said it was going to be Brittany Griner, not you.
They are trying to spin it any way they can because there's no good reason for this trade except what you mentioned, black and gay. That's it. And except for social justice victory points. Look, man, we virtued it. We virtued her home. Except for that, it is a foreign policy disaster. We are in a proxy war with Russia, whether we want to admit it or not. We are funding Ukraine to fight Russia. And what did we do? We gave them back an arms dealer.
who can maybe able to find some shit for their own troops to fight in Ukraine.
Quite frankly, I think Brittany Griner deserves some blame the next time this guy goes out and murders a bunch of people.
Well, I wouldn't blame her for it. I think Biden definitely does.
Oh, Biden and his team, the State Department especially, because they're fucking incompetent. And they got those soldiers killed in Afghanistan. But I think she deserves some of the blame because her celebrity status is what got her out. And the fact that she seems to hate this country.
Look, her celebrity status didn't get her out. Being black and gay got her out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't think it hurt any.
Nobody knew Brittany Griner before she got arrested. And frankly, most people didn't know her for almost another month until the news actually picked it up really big when the war kicked off and they tried making, they're probably doing this for diplomatic reasons. No, they weren't. They arrested a druggie. That's all they did.
Yeah. Don't flaunt criminal law in other countries. That's dumb. Does nobody watch Locked Up Abroad or To Catch a Smuggler? Like, how do you not know to not take drugs into a foreign country?
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm a lesbian, I don't go over there either. They don't have the best track record with gays.
Yeah. Real quick. Thank you, Travis Gardner. Mr. Reagan. I have to modify this a little bit, Travis. This is Twitter, so we can instantly talk to millions at once. Oh, this is amazing. What can we use it for? Cat pictures and kid diddling. What was that? Yes, Mr. President, cat pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not untrue, apparently.
Are you sure Britney's female? Have you heard her voice? There was a picture going around yesterday claiming to show her without her shirt off, or sorry, with her shirt off. It looked photoshopped to me. I don't know if she's actually a woman. She might be like that one female runner who's got like 90% man, but born with a vagina.
Carson Semenaya.
Yeah, her.
Well, she's
Got testicles.
she's she's intersex. She has internal testicles, and so Castor Semenaya. So actually, technically, from chromosomally, she would normally be classified as male.
Yeah, but she's a woman and breaks all kinds of records, beats the shit out of every woman she runs against.
But what's crazy about that too, she can claim to be a cis woman.
So you're saying she's got an innie and an outie?
Because she was assigned female at birth.
The only case in
That's
history.
a dude. We all know it's a dude.
I know, but I'm telling you,
when it
from the, if you go by the rules, she was called a female at birth, and she grew up as a female and identifies as a female. So
that's a dude.
That's why, to me, cis means nothing to me. I don't.
Cis means nothing because it's made up nonsense.
Right. It means nothing because that can happen. You can, what, you know what? Sorry.
But when it comes to Grindr, what is she, like 6'9"? That is incredibly rare for a woman. I don't know if does that put her as the tallest woman?
No. There's in fact, she for a minute she wasn't even the tallest woman in the WNBA. She was the second tallest. There's a woman from China that played for a while that was like 6'11".
Yeah, what was that dude's name?
Jing Yongzhang.
Experiment number 785.
But she was pretty useless too. She couldn't move. And really, Brittany Griner, I mean, what's the rare about her is that she's that tall and she can actually move. Because there are other women that tall, but most are not athletic alone. She can kind of run, and she can.
I've
jump
seen her run. That's being very generous.
She can jump 4 inches off the ground, which is why she can dunk sometimes.
She can do that sad dunk she does.
Oh, it's so weak. It's so terrible.
Yeah. Look, it's just a bad trade that we made, and it made us look like fucking fools on the national stage or on the international stage at a time when Russia and China are making power plays, and Biden just said, "Yeah, we're stupid. The adults are in charge, guys. The adults are in charge."
We should get Charles in charge.
Charles in charge of my day. Anyway, we are going to wrap up here, guys. We're at the 2 hours, 7 minute mark. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for the donations. I need to refresh that because it's not making noise. Let's make sure we haven't missed any here before we close out the show. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys are so very kind to us. Jack, anything you want to show?
I'll drop some links in the chat. Thank you guys for the donations. You guys are awesome. And thanks for coming out night after night and talking to us. We appreciate it.
P-Dog, anything you want to show out? You're going to be on YouTube for the next couple of weeks?
Well, here, look. Here's what I want people to do. I know a lot of you are already subscribed to me, but I'm doing a campaign over the next month because I originally doing this project 10,000, where I was going to try to get 10,000 subscribers by my 1,000th episode, which is going to be the second week of February. But I have this 2-week hiatus from YouTube, right? If you're not subscribed to me, even if you don't ever plan to watch my channel or not, would you please subscribe to my channel? I'm putting the link in the chat right now. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube, okay? Because I want to piss them off. I want my channel to grow while I'm suspended. And then if you could also just subscribe me on Rumble if you want to watch my show the next 2 weeks, because I won't be on YouTube for the next 2 weeks. But please, and not just that, not just subscribe to my channel, but if you're on social media, invite people to subscribe to my channel. Take that link, put it on your social media and say, hey, just subscribe to this guy because YouTube's screwing him over. So we're going to fuck with YouTube. This is a way to get subscribers. I want just please do that. That's it. I have a morning show called The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. For the next 2 weeks, it's only going to be on Rumble. Okay.
I dropped your Rumble link in chat there, guys. It's up there. Make sure you follow them over there.
Thanks, Bong.
You're welcome. Don't forget to like the show, guys. If you're watching later or you haven't done it yet live, hit the like button, you guys. Hit the Rumble button over there. It really does help people out, especially when they're live. If you can hit the like button, and not just for me, anybody you go watch, if you enjoy their content, hit the like button.
Just remind me, I got to do it too. There
you go.
Boom, did it on both at Rumble and whatever. There you go.
I'm gonna try to game. My satellite was being an ass last night, so I couldn't do it. I will do my best to get a game stream done. Twitch.tv/rantingmonkey. No promises though. We'll see what happens. On that note, P-Dog, Jack, pleasure as always, gentlemen.
Always glad to be here.
Me too. It was a lot of fun.
Guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Yoel Roth is a piece of shit. I can't call him that other thing. It'd be slander, although it's probably true. Yoel Roth.